Now, for this session on optimizing AI for India, I'd like to call on stage Mr. Rajiv Kumar, President and Managing Director, Microsoft Development Center, India. With a round of applause, let's welcome him, everyone. And the moderator for this session, Ms. Rukmini Rao, Consulting Editor, Fortune India.
Good to have you with us, Rajiv. First, perhaps I want to start with asking you for a sort of outlook when it comes to the adoption of Gen AI in India has been so amazing, right? All sort of models and, even on the B2B and the B2C side. In terms of the adoption, right, of the LLMs and all the agents, what is the early insights that you have got in terms of adoption? I mean, be it Copilot or ChatGPT and you against the others, some sort of an entire ecosystem view that you see as of now.
Yeah, sure. No, thanks, Rukmini. Thank you for inviting Microsoft. A pleasure to come here and share my learning.
Oh, wow,
pleasure. We have been in this Gen AI world from day one. Like when OpenAI basically shipped, we really invested. Satya invested $1 billion, I remember, in 2019, and that's where the real journey started. And it was not until 22 November when ChatGPT came out that really took the world with surprise. But let me step back. You're asking in India, what do we see? So there are two conversations I think we need to pay attention to. The sad part is that 90% of conversation is about LLM.
Okay.
But people don't, just LLM is not the product. It's a enabling technology. The 90% of the success will come from diffusion, whether it gets used in the right way or not. Let me just give you perspective of both. On the LLM, people complain that, okay, India doesn't have our own sovereign LLM yet, large language model, because China has one. But if you see, things are changing so fast. First, it was OpenAI, the darling of LLM. Then came DeepSeek, completely disrupted them. Then came Gemini, then came Grok, then came, right now the darling is Anthropic. So every 6 months is changing. And I think India also will get there. There are companies like Krutrim is there, Sarvam is there, Bharat.ai is there, and they are doing right now SLM or medium size model. And basically we are limited by GPUs. Like, look, we give GPUs to most of these companies. If I had one GPU, I could sell it today. It is that constrained. So I think India will have LLM, that's not a problem. What really is encouraging for me is the amount of diffusion I see in India. If I just look at GitHub, which is Microsoft platform for developers, India has the second largest number of developers, 27 million.
In the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to overtake US, right? In terms of GitHub
developers. So GitHub adoption, the number of AI projects on GitHub in the whole world, India is number 2. And if I look at the run rate, in 2 years, it will become number 1.
Right,
so what it tells me is that our developers are in the cutting edge. They are trying to build AI solutions, and that is very encouraging for a country like India, where IT has been the backbone of the journey from 1 trillion to 4 trillion, right?
Rajiv, interestingly, you just spoke about sovereign LLMs, right? Now that the Indian startups have sort of put their focus on building own Indic language LLMs and, Indian-specific trained languages, etc., do you see them late to the adoption curve, or how do you see them stacking up with some of the more well-developed? Are they at a disadvantage if you have to say like a big technology company looking at these really small startups that are coming up?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a big disadvantage. Are we behind? Yes. But do we have the power to catch up? Absolutely. See, one of the benefit of China is that benefit or downside is that they don't get the worldwide tech because they have closed the market. And because of that, they need to build custom or homegrown. But I see the same talent in India. I see it's a matter of time when we have the GPUs. And I'll tell you, like, I'm really also impressed with the policy of the government. You take AI mission in India. I think what they have done is remarkable. What they have done is they have basically created private-public partnership to make GPUs available to startups in India. Right now, the government has about 34,000 GPUs that any startup can, at a very fractional cost, can get access to GPU. Their goal is to get to 50,000 to 200,000. I think that is a remarkable way of democratizing. So anybody can build models. Our universities can build it. Our startups can build it. So I do see, though we might be a little behind on LLM, but I feel we are catching up. Let me give you one more data.
Sure.
People talk about LLM and disruptive LLM, and there's like always 5 LLM that gets talked about. You know, Microsoft, on Microsoft Cloud, there is, guess how many models exist? 11,000.
Wow.
11,000. So in some sense, the differentiation is just going away because anybody can build. Like, look at Grok. In 18 months, it went from nothing to a top 5 model, right? So look at DeepSeek, where at a fraction of the cost, they could build something that would compete with OpenAI. So I feel it's a matter of like just getting the GPU, and then this country will have our own sovereign model. Also, the model that exists today, the sovereign model, Lindic models, that's good enough because see, you have to change the architecture. You don't need always the LLM. You can always use the Indic model for the interaction, like somebody from Andhra Pradesh. They can talk in Telugu, but the Indic model is translating that. Then you can create a prompt behind the scene and call some large language model, get the answer, then you translate it back into Telugu and give me the answer. So there are architectures that without investing in LLM immediately, we can still build very country-specific.
Sure. Since you are mentioning about compute power, Rajiv, Satya, in fact, in 2025, visited India twice, right, on his AI tour, which is perhaps, for the first time, I'm guessing, because, largely he does one tour every year.
Yeah.
So, and he's also committed, Microsoft has said that they'll be building huge data centers, committing, large sums of money. Given the constraint that you're talking about, and if we are looking at AI diffusion at scale in India, and again, this GPU problem doesn't seem to be, it can't go away in like a short time. So how do you optimize, like, let's say, the availability of compute power to use it for, people at large? Would it require, hardware recalibration, or it has to be on the software side? Where do you see that with constraints that India has and probably the capacity addition that will happen over the years, getting the languages to be more intelligent than they are today?
See, Microsoft, the Satya coming in India twice, announcing 3 billion and then 17.5 billion, it adds up to 20.5 billion. That just shows how much we are committed to this country, number one. Now, how are we going to use that money? I think there are 3 big buckets. Number one is we want to use this money judiciously to build local infrastructure, sovereign infrastructure. Because sovereignty in this new geopolitical war and stuff is an important aspect for any country. And India being such a strategic country for the company, we want to make sure that we have infrastructure built in the country in a sovereign way. So that's one bucket. The second bucket that we will use our money is skilling. Because you can have all the technology, but if people are not skilled to use it, it's all useless. So we are committed to training about 20 million citizens. Out of that, 2 million will be educators so that they can educate kids. So that is our second commitment. And third is really about helping industry and enterprises for diffusing. I'll give you a few examples like that I feel very proud of. One of them is eShram. eShram is the Ministry of Labor. They build a platform for onboarding informal workers. Those are like white-collar jobs, right? Like people who are doing day jobs informally. 300 million people in this country are onboarded on that AI platform where they are getting trained based on the jobs that are coming online, and then they will train you as and then they'll match you for a job that shows up next day. So that is the kind of diffusion I'm talking about. Then let's take the other one, is Sanjeevani. That is a medical platform for anybody from anywhere in the country be able to get telemedicine. 410 million consultations have happened in the last 18 months. So those are very, those are planet scale, those are population scale. Then of course there's cutting edge, like Apollo built this clinical AI solution for their doctors to diagnose better, to speed up that diagnosis, because AI can be an assistant. They are co-pilot, they are not the pilot, but the co-pilot to help doctor quickly. So they are saying they are seeing almost 20 to 30% efficiency of the doctor, better judgment, because there's another set of eyes that is telling me what this could be. So those are the three buckets where Microsoft
Sure.
is coming.
Rajiv, going back to sovereignty of LLMs and sovereign clouds, etc. Where is this need coming from? Is it more of regulatory, or you see clients who want their data to be in a certain geography? Is the macro playing a part? What are the drivers, Rajiv, if if we have to look at sovereign cloud capacity enhancement in India?
No, I think that's very, very good question. I would say there are 2 or 3 different factors that's playing. One, if you take the geopolitics, in this age of where there are quite a few wars, whether Russia war or Middle Gulf war, there is a sense in the administrative and the political will of the country that, hey, we don't want the kill switch to be somebody else. So they want to make sure my cloud should be running here, that I have full control. So that's one aspect. The second aspect of sovereignty, which I think every country will want their own LLM. You know why? Because you want your history to be represented in your way. You don't want a Western view of Indian history to be taught to our students, right? So that's why most countries will want some LLM that has been trained in their own data. Today, most of the models are trained by English language, because 90% of the internet data that is used for training is English medium, for example. Where is the local languages? So I think, and I've been talking to a lot of government, whether Maharashtra or Telangana or Andhra Pradesh, they all have the desire to build model that has in like local context, local language, because especially for a country like India, where there is 23 like very popular languages, and if you take dialects, it's in hundreds, you want to make sure that this technology is available to my mom and my grandmother and my sister in the language of their comfort. So that's the other reason why sovereignty is playing a big deal in this discussion.
Sure. Finally, Rajiv, something that on which I wanted to get your thoughts was also around Microsoft at the scale where there is a big thrust for co-pilot adoption, right, in the enterprises, and also now ChatGPT sort of getting onto the enterprise in the business context, not just conversational. Again, in terms of risk, right, I want to understand what is perhaps now sort of plaguing when it comes to large-scale industrial adoption or enterprise adoption, though it's happening in buckets inside enterprises, right? And as someone who's providing those agents and that platform, how do you sort of convince today for someone to have, adopt these agents on their enterprise? And how difficult or, what are the risks that still weigh on the minds of enterprises when it comes to large-scale adoption within the enterprises?
Very, very good question, Rukmini. See, look, if like people, startups or enterprises, what is their biggest risk? Their biggest risk is they don't want to get logged into one model. I think the only company on this planet today that is saying, hey, I will give you any model that you want is Microsoft. Our Copilot, if you use Copilot now, I think it's worldwide available, maybe, or in a week or 2 you'll see. You can choose the model. In Copilot, you can say, I want to use Anthropic or OpenAI. We start with that. If you go to our Foundry, our platform where you can build agents, you can choose from the 11,000 models, actually. So going in our chat, the Copilot chat, there's 2 available. More will come. Because, see, I'll tell you, it's not just about not getting logged on a model, but also every model is better in some sense. Like, if you look at OpenAI, they are very good at open Q&A because that's how they started. If you look at a lot of the Google models, they are very good in maps because they are they do the maps. They have the most map data. Why are their model better in maps? Because they have the data. Now, if you go to Meta, there's a lot of social media content. So their model is a lot better in like creating pictures, for example. So what we can do is take the best model for that scenario and give you the best answer.
So Rajiv,
some
in a
sense.
multi-language model setup that we would see in the future,
Yes.
do you think data will be the currency to say that, hey, on my platform, if I need to plug you, then, you know.
I
this is
think
all-
data is the big currency, actually. Because see, one of the other things that people don't talk about is, if you look at most of the LLMs, large language model, it is built on public data. But now the question is, how do you take that model and you customize it for your own company? That data you don't want to give to the model companies, because then you are diffusing your IP into something that anybody can use. What Microsoft is saying is that we will help you train the model or what we call context engineering for your company, for your tenant only. So in that sense, I feel Microsoft is in a very neutral, high trust place, actually.
Lovely and, you know, interesting days ahead, perhaps
Yes.
for everyone out there. Thank you for this lovely conversation,
Thank you so much.
Rajiv.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajiv, for sharing your perspectives. We'd like you to please wait back. I'd like to ask Mr. Rukmini to please present a token of appreciation. Thank you very much, sir, once again. Thanks a lot.